Good afternoon and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Jumoke Michaels. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has granted the request of former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki to travel abroad for medical attention. The trial judge, Justice Adeniyi Ademola, in a ruling ordered the court registrar to release Dasuki's traveling passport to enable him travel abroad. Justice Ademola, however, adjourned the trial till November 26 and 27. More details in subsequent bulletins. Former President Goodluck Jonathan showed up at the presidential villa on Monday to meet with President Muhammadu Buhari. The reasons behind the closed-door meeting between the two leaders were sketchy, as none of them spoke to State House correspondents. Ex-President Jonathan, who arrived at Aso Rock at 2 p.m., left exactly 5 minutes later. Security operatives barred reporters stationed at the State House from taking pictures of the former president, while a reporter found passing on information on the visit was temporarily detained at the office of the Chief Security Officer to the President. Former President Jonathan was recently in Tanzania at the head of a 32-member Commonwealth Election Observer Mission to monitor general elections in the East African country. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has declared the former Pension Reform Tax Team's chairman, Abdulrasheed Maina, wanted. In a statement, EFCC's head of media and publicity, Wilson Wujaren, disclosed that Maina is wanted for his alleged role in the fraudulent biometric contracts to which he and former head of service, Steve Oronsai, and two others allegedly mismanaged over 2 billion naira of pension funds. The statement further disclosed that Maina has been at large and has shunned court proceedings since July 21, 2015, when he was charged alongside Oronsai, Osareko Afe and Frederick Hamilton, BG Global Services Limited, before a federal high court on a 24-count charge bordering on procurement fraud and obtaining by false pretense. The federal government has promised to pay the salaries of some of the workers yet to be paid. In a statement, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, attributed the delay to unforeseen technical challenges. The statement disclosed that the President is seriously concerned about the ordeals of civil servants as a result of delayed payment of salaries. Shehu further explained that the happiness and welfare of the people is one of the cardinal objectives of any democratically elected government. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Lawal Rabana, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to urgently announce the Attorney General of the Federation in order to further enthrone the rule of law and uphold the judicial process in the country. The former Secretary General of the Nigerian Bar Association noted that since the Attorney General is the only portfolio mentioned in the Constitution, it behoves on the President to name the occupier soonest, as there are many bilateral agreements and prosecutions to be done on behalf of the federal government.
As you do know, the office of the Attorney General is a very key office which the framers of our Constitution in their wisdom specifically created in the Constitution. It is the only ministerial portfolio in the real sense of it that is specifically mentioned. So in compliance with the Constitution, every government in Nigeria must have Attorney General. You may not have Minister of Education, you may not have Minister of Water Resources, you may not have any minister, but that of Attorney General is specific. And therefore, for those of us in the legal profession, we think when you leave that office vacant for so long, it has a lot of wide-ranging implications.
Rabana also dismissed the insinuation by some Nigerians over the recent judgment in Rivers and Cross Rivers that went in favor of the ruling party, that the present government wants to take over all the states in Nigeria through judicial process.
Therefore, my views on this is just simply that of a Nigerian who is interested in good governance and making sure that the rule of law prevails at all times. Now, when judgments are delivered, aggrieved parties will always have an excuse as to why the judgment went the way it did. So I will not comment on the merits or otherwise. In fact, I've not even seen any of the judgments. I read it like another person, what happened in Akwa Ibom, what has happened in Rivers State. But what I will simply say is that once you move a dispute from the realm of political solution to judicial intervention and judicial adjudication, you take the judgment as it is, without insinuations, without reading meanings into it. I think we have a responsible country. Notwithstanding the poor leadership we have been used to in this country, we still have a country that stands by the rule of law.
Politicians on Monday converged on Abuja to take stock of the progression of Nigeria's democracy at the launch of a national political summit. The event was put together by Save Democracy Group, a political association led by former Senate President Ibrahim Mantu. Speakers at the occasion took turns to speak on the need for members of the political class to ensure the safety of democracy. Correspondent Jamil Afegbua reports.
Nigeria successfully moved on democratic governance for about 16 years, and the need to access the successes or failures with a view to making amends where necessary cannot be overemphasized. This brought eminent Nigerians, political party leaders, and the diplomatic community to a gathering in Abuja on ways to sustain the current democracy.
So the wisdom of those who put together the National Political Summit, I can only salute their intellectual mobility and sagacity. And I want to believe that what we are starting today, by the grace of God, will outlive us.
SDG Africa aspires at all times to be an alternative force for deepening and sustaining our democratic culture and ensuring that politics is played by the rule and that the principle of internal democracy is fully entrenched among our political parties.
Speakers at the occasion did not hold back on extolling the virtues of the group, while political leaders lauded the new government's drive towards ensuring stability on the political waters.
All we seek to do is to, look at the last 16 years and gather like a progress report on where has this democracy taken us to?
Well, I think it's an excellent development, and it's a sign of the fact that our democracy in Nigeria is maturing.
The highlight of the occasion was the unveiling of the group's logo.
The logo of the National Political Summit for the sustenance and deepening of democracy and for the practice of principles and practice of democracy in Nigeria and indeed Africa at large.
The political class, through the coming together under the group, has decided to ensure the safety of democracy in Nigeria, something hailed as worthy.
Political scene is taking proper shape, is gradually coming to terms with the reality of democracy, with the reality of situation, and thanks to the last election, where we have give and take among the presidential contenders. So the political terrain is getting better.
With its first summit coming up between January 25th and 26th of 2016, the Save Democracy Group which was established in 2014, is said to be the bridge builder between not just political parties, but also political stakeholders in Nigeria for the advancement of democratic values. Jamil Afegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Reactions have continued to trail the confirmation of the ministers by the Senate. Correspondent Netu Ilabari, who has been monitoring the story, has more in this report as presented from our studios.
When President Muhammad Buhari addressed Nigerians at the 55th anniversary live broadcast, he expressed his concern over the anxiety of most Nigerians on the ministerial list, which so many stakeholders, especially the major opposition party, PDP, condemning his administration as slow. President Buhari's response was simply that he believed in a slow and steady approach to governance.
Fellow Nigerians, there have been a lot of anxiety and impatience over the apparent delay in the announcement of ministers. There is no cause to be anxious. Our government set out to do things methodically and properly. We received the handover notes from the outgoing government only 4 days before taking over.
With the eventual confirmation of the president's men by the Senate, which was not without a dramatic session, these analysts have called on the confirmed 2 members of the Buhari cabinet to get to work as Nigerians await quick result and visible improvement in the polity.
Well, there is serious work to be done by the newly confirmed ministers. They should start working immediately. We've spent a lot of time waiting for ministers to come in. Now they are there. They should hit the ground running. There is a lot to do. Nigerians are impatient. We are in a hurry. Yes, we are an impatient lot, and we want things to be done. And a lot of rot had gone in the past, so there's a lot of repair work for them to do, and as well as new development programs to be initiated and executed.
These are some of the major expectations that Nigerians will be expecting from the newly appointed ministers and the Buhari regime, to put in place the necessary policy framework that will bring a tremendous improvement in their lots and conditions.
Since the ruling All Progressives Congress APC rode on the change mantra and its campaign promises to win the elections, political observers say they are keen on the minister's performance with 2019 in sight.
The statement credited to President Muhammadu Buhari on the perilous financial situation of the country has continued to generate reactions, with the People's Democratic Party berating the president for according to demarketing Nigeria. Correspondent Sarah Ayeku went round town to sample people's opinion on the issue. She has more in this report.
The president's recent announcement to the world that the nation, with its abundant and natural resources, is bankrupt and cannot pay cabinet ministers shocked many Nigerians. For the PDP, which spoke through its National Publicity Secretary, Olisa Metu, the president has only helped in demarketing the nation to investors, and both local and foreign. But for these Nigerians, the president is only doing his job.
Buhari has the right and to do whatever he wants to do. You can't move an economy without the past regime to know what is going on. So I supported what the president said concerning the process. So there's nothing bad in it. She should go back to the past regime and find out the problem.
So our president, let him do his work. Because you know that people have lose this and your money, my money. They have lose it. So allow the president, let him do what he wants to do, and we let Nigeria give him chance, at least for 1 year, before everybody complain about him.
Let's just give the president the time, you know, as he has elected people. Now the screening is ongoing. So after the screening, let's see a settled ministerial positions.
They, however, advised the president to quickly get his cabinet up and running.
But I would also advise Buhari to sit down and tap into industries they could make the money from and get Nigeria working. I personally am living in Nigeria. If I can also day to day to make money to live, I believe our government can do something to sustain us. We are all smart Nigerian citizens, and I believe by the grace of God, Nigeria will go.
So what I think the government should do now is to empower the small-scale industry, the bank of industry, the SMEDAM, and others like that, other facility, other, what they call it, just to make sure that they empower the entire public, I get in it, on what they can be doing. I get in, push in money out and encourage people to collect soft loan with at least 0% increment.
While the controversy continues on the true state of the economy, many Nigerians hope for better days promised by the Buhari administration.
You're still watching CoreTV News on the Hour. We'll take a quick break and return with more stories. Please stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it's time to forgive me.
Please Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Good to have you back. We'd like to remind you that you can follow us on our social media platforms by following us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CoreTV News, or tweet us at CoreTV News NG, or youtube.com/CoreTV News. The police authorities have warned workers in Kogi State against blocking highways as part of their plans to protest against the state government. In a statement issued in Abuja, police spokesperson Olabisi Kolawole said police operatives would not tolerate plans to restrict movement in and out of the state. It wants the workers to restrict themselves to legal and labor procedures of exercising their rights without causing major traffic or security threats. The police added that its operatives are prepared to deal with any individual or group attempting to threaten security or public peace under the guise of protests. Since the confirmation of former governor of Ekiti State as minister, different factions of the APC in the state seem to be closing ranks with a general meeting, which hitherto has not been held for some months now. One of the resolutions of the party is not to partake in the December 19th local government election under the chairmanship of retired Justice Kayode Bamishile, who has been accused of being a card-carrying member of the PDP. Rashid reports from Inyi, Ekiti.
The Ekiti State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has been enmeshed in factional crisis after losing the June 21st, 2014 governorship election. But with the confirmation of former Governor Kayode Fayemi as minister, the party seems to settle all rifts, hence defying torrential rain to hold a general meeting that brought all interest groups to the table in Ekiti.
Sometime now we have not been able to meet. We thought it's the right time to come together, review our mission and our vision.
As one of its resolutions, the APC says the party will not contest the December 19th local government election, citing partisanship of the Justice Kayode Bamishile-led EXIAC.
We are not going to participate in an election under the Justice Kayode Bamishile, who is a member of PDP.
Deputy chairman of the party and former governor of Ekiti State, Segun Oni, has called for the resignation of the Ekiti State Electoral Commission.
People whose names have been found on the registers of political parties. It's a matter of honor. Such people should even we throw in the towel. We are not, it is not a matter of politics. It is a matter of decency.
While Nigerians wait for the announcement of portfolios, the newfound unity of the APC in Ekiti State will soon be put to test in few weeks to come. Rashid, CoreTV News, in Ekiti.
The National Orientation Agency plans to circulate local translations of the 1999 Constitution to all nooks and crannies of the country. in an effort to promote understanding of human rights among Nigerians. Director General of NOA, Mike Omeri, disclosed this when he visited the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, to fine-tune areas of partnership between the two organizations. NOA spokesman Paul Odeyi quotes Omeri as saying that the translation of the Constitution was informed by the fact that many Nigerians remain unaware of their rights and are therefore ill-equipped to demand their enforcement. He said NOA was working with the Commission to promote human rights in Nigeria, adding that the agency's staff were being trained to enable them perform that function. The Commission's Executive Secretary, Ben Angwe, for his part, disclosed that it has a target of achieving 80% human rights awareness in the country by the end of 2015. He announced that the Commission and the Nigeria Police have resolved to henceforth prosecute any medical personnel or facility in the country that refuses to attend to any Nigerian on the grounds of lack of financial means or a police report. He described the right to medical attention as a basic human right that must henceforth be enforced in Nigeria. With judgments on issues of election coming thick and fast all over the Federation, the member representing Uguta constituency, Henry Ezediaro Uzoma, who was also victorious before the tribunal, says he's grateful to God for his legal confirmation. He also promised the people of his constituency and the state that he'll do his best after his victory has been legally validated.
My word for my people is that once again I'll thank them for having come out, voted me, and having stood behind me in all this time of election petition tribunal. And that by the grace of God I will not disappoint them. I will serve them and they will never regret having voted me into power.
And now we'll take stories from the international scene. The first plane produced by a Chinese government initiative to compete in the market for large passenger jetliners has been unveiled in Shanghai. The Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, COMAC, showed off its twin-engine C919 with a range of up to 5,555 kilometers in a ceremony attended by some 4,000 government officials and other guests at a hangar near the Pudong International Airport. COMAC chairman Jane Zunlong said the aircraft will make its first flight in 2016. China's aviation market is growing fast but relies on Boeing and Airbus aircraft. The ruling Communist Party wants to claw back some of the commercial benefits that flow to foreign suppliers. The Russian airplane, whose passenger plane crashed on Saturday in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, has insisted that a technical fault could not have caused the disaster. Addressing journalists, the Deputy General Director of Kogalmavia, Alexander Smirnov, which operates flights under the name Metrojet, said the disaster was most likely caused by an external impact. Investigators from several countries have joined an Egypt-led probe to determine what brought down Russian airline Kogalmavia's flight 9268 on Saturday, killing all 224 people on board en route from Sharm el-Sheikh to St. Petersburg. After examining the site of the wreckage, the chief of Russia's Interstate Aviation Committee, Viktor Sorochenko, said it's too early to speak about the crash causes. President Barack Obama says the United States is not putting its troops on the front lines in Syria to fight the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL. In an interview on Monday night, Obama said it's merely an extension of what the U.S. was already doing, adding that the troops, which would be no fewer than 50, are on a mission to train, advise and assist. The introduction of U.S. forces on the ground marks a shift after more than a year of limiting the Syrian mission to airstrikes against ISIL. And that's all on the news on the hour on CoreTV News. I am Jumoke Michaels. Thanks for staying with us.